learnt from coming here and learnt from Buddhism and meditation. And the topic of the talk is, as it says, free your mind presentation. So when I was asked to do this, I thought about, had my mind got any freer? And the answer was yes. But the first thing I thought was that in order to experience that, where I was able to look at the world with actually a sense of wonder and awe and beauty, being able to see beauty in the world possibly where I hadn't seen it before, the process that I had gone through was to have knowledge of my mind, to know my mind. And that's what I've learned by coming here. And I wanted to, there were some things that I'd read and I'd like to say and quote. So the Buddha said, all mental states have mind as their forerunner. Mind is their chief, and they are mind-made. If with a pure mind one speaks or acts, happiness follows him close, like his never-departing shadow. And that really rings true for me. And upstairs, we've just had a meditation, the mindfulness of breathing, where Aryanavata made a comparison of our mind like still water. When our mind is free of unskillful, so negative thoughts, our mind can settle and become like pure water. And there's lots of comparisons with water and the mind. And also the sun. So for me, the sun is radiant. And the sun is always there. So when we get on a plane and we leave England through the cloud and we see the sun, and the sun is everywhere. That could be like our minds, free, very clear, and the rays go as far as they can go. And it's just the clouds that stop the rays from actually shining light on the little corners of everywhere. And those clouds are like our thoughts. When I came to the Buddhist Centre, I was a head of behaviour at an inner city school in Deptford. So I was very stressed. And I wanted to be happy. And I wanted to find peace. What I didn't realise at the time was I was reacting with a very reactive mind. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to find peace. I wanted to get from life what it could offer. But that's just a reaction. It's craving. I was craving that. And actually, that craving itself is unskillful. I would often receive emails at work or have relationships with colleagues where I thought that I wasn't good enough for my job. But actually, that's just a story. I had created that perception. So I heard someone say the other day, they were talking about their own death, and they were saying, I am just a story. So we create stories, and we think certain things because of our perceptions and the way that we view things. And those are the things that I've learnt here coming to the Buddhist Centre. Now, what's great about Buddhism is actually it gives us a little bit of a handbook as to how to deal with those types of thoughts. If we recognise that our thoughts are really craving, perceptions, not actually reality, we can then take much more control of our minds and actually be able to see reality for what it is. Living in the moment, being mindful, seeing what is in front of you, being able to hear other people's sides, other people's stories, not just perceiving what it is that you see and you automatically react to when you meet somebody, but actually really being able to see beyond that, being able to see the full story of somebody. And these are the things that I learnt coming to the Buddhist Centre and studying Buddhism, which I'm very grateful for. So this is all very well me sitting here saying that obviously it would be great to live a life where we don't ever crave anything, we have no attachment to anything, we recognise that everything is impermanent, that we're not rooted in hatred and ill will. But moment by moment in our lives, these thoughts come up. And so how do we deal with them? As I said, there is actually kind of like, it's not a rule book, but there's really clear guidelines in Buddhism as to how to do that. And what I've learned by coming here is when I do receive an email and I have that punch in my guts, oh, do they not like me? Have I not done my job properly? Am I not good enough for my job? I can look at the bigger picture. I can see that they're coming at that from another angle. Their intention is not to make me feel like that. Their intention is just to get their point across. And I have a choice as to how I can react to that. I can react with creativity, or I can just respond. So the way to do that, if my thinking is based on craving or attachment, I can think the opposite. I can actually go for the opposite of that and be open in my thinking. Or I can suppress that and say, no, I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel differently. I want to feel positively. And these are all teachings that I've got, or things that I've learned by coming here to the Buddhist Centre. Instead of being anxious, I can recognize that it is anxiety and say, I don't want to feel like that. And that what I can also do is think, if I do still think with an anxious mind, where is that going to lead me? Where will it eventually lead me to? So I'm going to ask you now, just for 1 minute, I just want you to think about a situation that may have happened in the last 24 hours that has left you feeling a little bit discontented or a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe an email or an interaction with somebody. And I'd invite you to think, was that your perception? Were you sure of what was happening at that point? Did you have the full story? Were you trying to get something? Does that resonate with anyone? So that's what Buddhism has brought to me. And underpinning all of this is meditation. And meditation offers you the time every day to allow your mind to still, like that water and like the sun. It gives you the opportunity to relax and to let the mind be still and to see reality for what it is, rather than for all of those stories that go on in our heads, fueling our own feelings of inadequacy, anxiety. And meditation allows you then to think bigger, to think beyond those day-to-day mundane activities or thoughts. To be able to walk down the street and look at a beautiful sunny day and think, wow, that's wonderful, but also look at a beautiful rainy day and think, wow, that's wonderful, without the story of why that wouldn't be so good going around in your head. For some people, a sunny day is not what you need. Not if you're stuck in an office or somewhere else. So being able to think bigger for me is something I've learned from coming to the Buddhist Centre. After I came to the Buddhist Centre, I started volunteering as well. And that's very important to me, because through recognising how other people have stories of their own, and through recognising how you create your own responses to things, you can then see that by giving and encouraging other people to be the best that they can, you are freeing your mind of all those other constraints that are around and being able to hear and listen to other people's stories. So my voluntary work is really good practice for that as well, where I'm able to hear how people live and what's troubling them, what's worrying them. And I can think beyond my own perceptions and conditioning of my thinking. So really, I'm very grateful for coming to the Buddhist Centre, and I'm really grateful for meeting the Sangha and for meeting you, because I just think it's an amazing thing, and I do look at all of you with awe and wonder, really, because we're all so different. We all have different feelings and emotions and perceptions, and yet we are all here together. And that's an incredible thing. So I'd just like to thank you very much for listening. Thank you.